But the control of the pleasure sensation is down to more than one simple chemical.
Thank you. Anything else at all?
No, that's fine, thanks.
One of the greatest discoveries in the science of pleasure is that dopamine is helped out by a whole set of other chemicals.
Our brain has its own narcotics factory, producing a pharmacy of chemicals that work in similar ways to a number of illicit drugs. And even something as innocent as eating can get them going.
When it's time to eat, special neurons in my brain release a substance called anandamide, named after the Sanskrit word for bliss. This is a cannabinoid, and it works in a similar way to dope.
It's believed that anandamide arouses intense appetite, much in the same way that THC in cannabis gives you the munchies.
But anandamide does more than just urge you to eat. It also triggers extra dopamine release in the brain's pleasure center. So it actually has a double whammy effect. One of the biggest rewards of pleasure is when the body is engaged in arguably the most important endeavor for any creature. We're rewarded for having sex. The drive to have sex is phenomenal. We have to do it to pass on our genes. As a result of evolution, sex is enormously pleasurable, and we're encouraged to give it a go at any opportunity. During the build-up to sex, dopamine starts being released. To ensure our pleasure sensations are sky high, our brain's onboard pharmacy prescribes a cocktail of chemicals, each one giving dopamine levels an extra boost. We've got a drug called PEA, which behaves like an amphetamine. This natural speed may well drive our feelings of lust. Then there's a newly discovered hormone called MSH, which fires up your senses and makes your whole body tingle with anticipation. So how does the joy of sex compare to other activities?
Running is completely different to sex. I can make running last as long as I want.
I think I'd probably go for the adrenaline rush.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say you're probably doing it wrong if you thought that.
Back in the boudoir, things are hotting up as our most potent natural narcotic comes into play. We produce our own opioid chemicals, which work in the same way as heroin. These are our endorphins, and they create an almighty natural high by taking the brakes off our dopamine system. Normally in the pleasure center, nerve cells producing a chemical called GABA control the firing rate of our dopamine nerves. During certain activities, like sex, other neurons start producing our endorphins. These switch off the nerves producing GABA. By stopping the release of GABA, a shed load of dopamine gets pumped out, which massively heightens our feelings of pleasure. Just at orgasm, other chemicals kick in. Oxytocin is responsible for that warm, floaty feeling and may encourage a bit of post-coital bonding. Serotonin gives a feeling of sexual satisfaction. It can also turn off any further urge for sex, for a moment at least. In men, it gives time to recharge, as it were, and may even send you off to sleep. Pleasure from sex as an evolutionary reward is fair enough. But people get pleasure doing things not even remotely connected to sex.